I'm here with Patrik from BHS, and he gave a presentation earlier this morning about, I can't remember exactly what because I didn't hear all of it, to be honest. But Patrik, before we talk about the workflow thing that you work with, so introduce yourself and let me know a little bit what was the presentation about this morning.
My name is Patrik Huettig. I'm the team leader of workflow management system at BHS. This team is very new at BHS for 2 years. We built our own infrastructure for the workflow system. And my presentation before it was of the power of variable data. The power of variable data to printing is a big solution also for the workflow topic, that you can use it and enrich it with different data, the entire code and other different variable data, so it's possible, and it's very important for our workflow system because we have connected it every time and have different interfaces also for the QR code.
It's quite amazing to think of because, I mean, the first question I asked you before we turned on the camera was what kind of integration you did. And basically, without mentioning any name, we can, but we don't have to, is basically that you need a lot of horsepower to make sure, because the machine is so fast, right?
Yeah, that's right. We need a lot of horsepower, but we will build a native cloud system, an infrastructure, because we will support all of our customers when they use our workflow system. And this is what we need: good horsepower in the infrastructure, but we want to build it with a native cloud. A native cloud is better scalable in the width from the power, so it's better and optimization for our customer.
Your personal background, is that in the IT industry or in the graphics arts industry?
I'm a packaging engineer. And have little skills of software development, but I'm the team leader of the guys that they will do it, and everybody has his own preferences.
The reason I was asking is because I sometimes think that it's funny to think of that if you really want to have a really, really fast system, you need to have the best programmers, but you also need to have the domain knowledge that you have, right? So I think that is a good combination. Is that also how you see it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very important because the power, also I think in the cloud, everybody talks about a cloud system, but cloud is not only a system or a domain in a server. It's more than this. And what we are building is a very new technology with the native cloud, which is much better scalable and have more power for every user who will use it.
And when I think of it as it is, I mean, one thing is of course the variable data that needs to be fast because it can be fully variable data of every box basically, right? But when you talk about, for example, you mentioned the QR code yourself. I mean, the QR code itself is not difficult to print. It is more all the infrastructure that it can do behind the scenes, right? So can you give a perspective of what is possible before a box reaches the end consumer? What is the QR code capable of, and what will your workflow system be capable of doing?
The QR code is, how you said, very simple to print it. It's not a high technology, but the infrastructure behind the QR code, this is very important. This is very difficult because you have different workflows, you have different connections, you have different interfaces where you can build it. And this is so much that you can do. What we have done is build the ground for the solution, for this technique. Now you can use it and build every use cases. And use cases are so big. You can use it in the BoxPlant for optimization, the production system, for planning, for organization, for the converting, and after this for the logistic. It's very important for the logistic. You can track it, you can track and trace it, you can order, you can see everything about it. Like DHL in Germany, they use a code. They can all see the status of the packaging. You can use the one QR code, and for the customers, brand owners,
it goes direct to a website, right?
Yeah, direct to website, or you can catch data and you can transform it later also back to the corrugator maybe.
And that is, of course, intense because, I mean, you have to think about a lot of different things. I was just wondering, you said it was a relatively young team of 2 years. is when you have a company like this and you have a project that is so important to the company and to the customers, did you start with like a master plan for what the software should be capable of doing, or is it, my little company, we do agile development, but I think that you have to have a kind of a relatively good structure on where you want to go, right?
When we were started, there was a master plan for this topic. Was older than me at BHS, yeah? But we have structured it new and make this project very, very agile. It's really, I always say we are a startup at BHS. Yeah, we are always separated, a young team, and everybody have a startup mentality at this team. Yeah.
And at the same time, I like that you talk about the startup mentality, but at the same time, I also think that coming into a company that is so, let's say, people-centric and so visionary in its way, it must be also nice because you don't need to deliver something by tomorrow. You have time to get it right.
Yeah, we have time. BHS is a wonderful company for do something like this. It's perfect. You have the background, you have the manager behind you that will support you. You have a team. You can talk to everybody in the whole company. Nobody is different. Mining. Everybody will help you, and the manager and the topic and the project planning is also possible. It's a perfect company for doing something like this.
Last question here. When we are here today at the BHS open house, and you have like the first booth close to the stage here, do you get the people up and see what you do and get a little further understanding of the, let's say, I will not say the complexity, but the opportunities of what you're building here?
It's difficult to explain everything, the workflow, because the workflow is very big. Everything is a workflow, and the connections between the corrugator and the digital printing machine are separately. So it's always difficult to explain what is the workflow. The workflow is meaning always the connection between the workflow engine to make something. We don't have a solution that we can pull out and give it to our customers. We have to build it with our customers.
Okay, so basically mean that you build components and then you have to tailor it to each customer because they have different workflows themselves.
Yes, that's true. We have in our infrastructure we have different tools. We have a big toolbox that you can use for the workflow. And maybe a customer has his own workflow engine. They can use our tools. So some customers will do this. Or they can use our workflow engine, and we will use these applications for us. Yeah.
Must be fun. It's like playing with Lego bricks as an adult, right?
Lego bricks.
You know the Lego.
Yeah.
Because you have the components, and then you just play around with them, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think I see a starship coming up here.
I hope so. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.